Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another live stream. Today, as we do every Saturday, we'll be continuing to work on my portfolio, working on building this product from scratch. And last week, if you were here with us, we kind of started working on the high-fidelity side of things, and we had left off with the footer, but let's just take a quick tour of everything else that we had done last week. So we were working pretty hard on the landing page here. So let's kind of scroll in here a little bit more. So we're really focusing more on like the typography and adding in some of the color palette in. We also last week kind of finished up our color palette as well. So as we can see here, we haven't really gotten into like the images or the more of like the extra part of the design, sort of that next level of fidelity. But we're just kind of making sure the typography and the colors are working together. We were also cleaning up a lot of the spacing. Some of this we had done pretty quickly, so making sure the spacing was consistent across the board, and we worked on this section, and we kind of got down to the footer here. And as you can see, it's not quite perfect, so we kind of left off there. I had to run. I had somebody come into the house to fix some stuff for me. So now let's keep on working here with our icon. So obviously this is not center lines. That's kind of the first thing I want to look at. We kind of had this blue color here, but I think we might need to make it the darker blue just for accessibility purposes here. Make it a little bit easier for everybody to see. I actually want to make these a little larger here. I think 24. Is it 24 or 25 in our style guide? 25. Okay. Try and make things consistent. Alrighty. Looking pretty good. Bump that over. We'll do about 20 pixels in between them, I think. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. Just to make sure we have enough spacing. Alrighty, we've got all those again, and they seem to be on, for some reason they're not on a, I don't know why this keeps happening, not exactly on a whole pixel value. We can just tweak that real quick. Alrighty, now we can center align that, and bring it down a little bit more to be closer to our copyright. And this guy, we can tweak the color, so we've got this kind of that light gray. I'm just going to make it a little darker, just so it stands out. I think that can be around 14 pixels as well. I don't see a problem with that. And that's about 30 at the bottom. Wonder what our nav was looking. Oop, went to the wrong one. How far away our nav was. Just kind of maybe keep it consistent. Oh, so this is something I didn't think about. Maybe making that a little bit better. All right, so that's 29, so we'll make it 30. And I guess this section of the page, we didn't really work on the overall design that much. It's kind of frustrating. But I don't think we need to necessarily worry about it too much. Maybe we'll make that 10 pixels. Because this is a weird shape, so it's not necessarily, like if we tried to center align that or something. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Maybe that will help a little bit more. Yeah, that's where that's coming from. Okay, I think that works for us right now. So let's go back to our footer here. What were we talking about? So that was about 30 pixels. So we can actually bring this down a little bit. I don't know if that needs to be a little. These need to be a little farther apart. Maybe 15. And we'll bring that up. Maybe we'll make it 40. It's not like the same, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the same. It's just kind of a nice thing to kind of consider. Like that's 40, so this would be 40 on the bottom, because it's more relative to the component than trying to keep the overall visual hierarchy or spacing consistent. Alrighty, we've got these guys here, and is that 18 as well? At 19. All right, let's maybe make that 20. Go ahead and put a guide there. See, we've got some folks joining the stream. Hello, welcome everybody. Let's go ahead and add our border radius, which I'm forgetting all our values now because we worked on this last week. So I think these are about 3. No, we're doing 5 pixels. Yeah. Yeah, that's a symbol all over the place. So we'll go ahead and make these 5 pixels. Just gotta make it a little friendlier. This is going to also be 5 pixels. And we'll get rid of the borders, add the color, Make that, I believe we have it bold. Let me go back to our button here. So what's the spacing like? 10, 20, cool. Alrighty, so we gotta get this off the half pixel, 18, nope, still in there. We'll move it over 2, add 3 to the side there. If you don't know, you can do math in these fields. I always love doing math in there. It really helps me figure out exactly what I want to be doing. And let's check out the spacing here. So that's about 8 pixels, which I think is okay. And it's about 14. Maybe we make this, no, probably closer to 15. Nice. Maybe we make this like 20. Let's tighten it up a little bit. I think that's okay. Cool. And I do want to make these a little bit lighter, just to kind of show that it's less of a, it's not a value, it's more of an input. Is that going to be accessible? We've been kind of going back and checking a lot of our values here, and that's on a pure white background. Yeah, so it's not passing the color ratio, which is a little upsetting. So this is, I mostly am interested when the text is really small, just because that way it does get harder even for like for everybody to read. So it's something that I definitely want to consider. Okay, so this one passes. So we'll use that one. So especially on like small text, that's definitely something I do want to really check into. This one is another good one to test as well, which I think was the same. Yeah, that's the same value. And then this background color, oh, we can grab it from there. Just make sure that that one is good as well. All right, so we're failing here, not by much. So maybe we can go ahead and make this. We can do a couple of things here. We could either make this one darker. And I think that works, and it's still different enough from this text here, which I think is our pure black. Yeah, so there's enough of a difference. The other thing we could do is even consider making this lighter, making it really subtle. I kind of liked a little bit more of the blue coming through, make it a little bit more personal. But lots of options there. So let's kind of make these 15 pixels as well. Oh, did I do both of these? No. Now we can go ahead and make this 20, just so we kind of maintain a similar spacing down here as well. Alrighty. So I'm liking where this is heading. This is pretty good. I'm wondering, I don't think we need an inner shadow or anything like that. Everything in this design is pretty flat. We've got a little bit of shadowing going on, but I don't think we necessarily need to do more than what we're currently doing. Alrighty. Let's check out these. The black I think works. They kind of feel a little heavy. I was wondering maybe if we bring it down to something like that. But I also think the black looks nice. Because if we brought it down to here, then this sticks out a little bit more, which is okay. Let's just go ahead and keep it as is. And actually, these could, I wonder if these are the same as our, oh no, that's way too big. So these are almost our, not quite a, oh, do we even have 28? That's actually another good question to ask. Yeah, we do. Okay, cool. Kind of forgetting our text scale. Maybe we should have made, what am I going to say? I forget. should have made text styles for that. Question, are you going to build that tweet part and it will dynamically show your newest tweets? Yep, that's a plan. It's just going to hit the Twitter API and grab my latest tweets. There's a couple packages out there that make that pretty easy, so hopefully they still work. Last time I have this on my current website. Let's see here. Let's see here. As you can see, this was 9 minutes ago, so it's not too hard to do. A couple good packages out there that make that pretty easy. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about this footer now. I think we've got all of our information here. Because this is so much of this blue color on the background, I'm not too worried about it not being as visible. That's why I kind of I'm okay with this being this lighter shade of blue and these being the darker shade of blue. So that's a little bit of context there for everybody. Okay. So Now we can go ahead and look at it on the page a little bit more, and obviously we've got a lot of space here, so let's go ahead and fix this a little bit. Maybe make that closer to 100. So we've kind of got everything overlaying each other. A little bit more of an optical alignment here, as opposed to like a really super considered one. Oh. That looks fine. How far is this? That's like 40 pixels. And you know, sometimes you want to keep your alignment consistent just because consistency helps with long-term memory and preventing the user from kind of falling into cognitive overload and stuff like that. But other times, you don't necessarily, if you're consistent within like a component, like this kind of section, that works, and then you have like very different design approaches for other pieces of information. I think that's appropriate as well. And this feels like it's kind of far away now. What do we get away with? Moving that up a little bit. Okay, something like that. That looks nice to me. Cool. Alrighty, here we've got this section that I think works. This is about 196 now because we moved it up a little bit. Alrighty, how are we from the bottom? Cool. So height minus 171. Alrighty. So this is coming together pretty nicely. So let's kind of give a little review of what we have and what we kind of need to focus on next here. I think the next thing that I'm kind of interested in focusing on is our maybe background colors. And it's kind of hard to make that call because this could change so dramatically based on whatever comes into our, whatever assets we decide. So maybe we do the assets first and kind of roll from there. Interesting though, look at this. So this is using Helvetica, I believe. Let me check. Let me double check. Yeah, Helvetica. And we're not really using our text hierarchy or anything like that. And notice we just changed the typography over here, and just look how much more designed it feels. And so you can do a lot with typography. It really is an incredible tool. And even just the color palette here, like if we, I don't want to jump to this page right away, but well, I'm pretty excited to see how we can take all these pages and just kind of slowly tweak the fidelity and make it so much more considered and designed. So definitely fun to see it in progress. Cool. So let's think here. I also have to decide what I'm going to put in these sections here. And we kind of took this inspiration from Justine's portfolio. So let's open that up just so we can kind of see where we're coming from. Oh, I can get rid of these. Let's see. Yeah, so we kind of took this inspiration from here. She's got photos of herself. She did a photo shoot, which is great if you've got the time and you maybe have a friend or you are good at photography. I think that's awesome. Unfortunately, I am not good at photography, and nor do I have any friends around me who are good at it. So I've been kind of thinking about what exactly I want to put in there. I'm leaning towards maybe doing some illustrations work. And actually, I was kind of looking at some cool effects here. I was thinking maybe we could do like some SVG animations here and kind of make this oscillate a little bit around the edge, just like a slight oscillation. So I've been really thinking about what exactly I want to do in these sections. I don't know if I necessarily want to sit here and illustrate all of this. I think it's just going to take a long time, and I'm not really sure exactly what I want it to look like here. So, but like kind of, I would love for it to be related to this over here. And one site that I think is really, I get inspired by a lot is Laracast.com. So, and yeah, so they've even done something similar here. And this is just more of an illustration about what they teach and everything. I was looking for something even more illustrated than this. Actually, I didn't even realize I had done this. It's becoming the hot new thing here. Do you have any tips for a full stack dev who wants to pick up a little bit of UX design? Is it something you think a full stack dev should even be concerned with? Absolutely. I think everybody is responsible for the user experience. For instance, if there are bugs in the code, that impacts the user experience, right? And so UX is something that everybody along the product team or the team should be thinking about. In terms of UX design, though, so UX is important for everybody. The whole idea, the big picture user experience, that's always something we should be considering. In terms of design, probably the best resource for a developer to pick up some tips would be Refactoring UI by Steve Shoger and Adam Wathan. That book is just phenomenal. It's really good because it was written by developers for developers, and how to translate some of their knowledge into design knowledge. In terms of specific tips, focus on your typography. That's probably the single biggest thing you can do to improve your design, your text hierarchy, and really just kind of consider using a little bit more white space. Let's look at this site. There's a lot of information here, but they've got tons of white space around. They're not like trying to jam. I mean, they have a lot of information, but they're not just like trying to fill every nook and cranny with information. It's a really well-considered design here. And everything is kind of supplemental, and they've kind of, like this background stuff is just adding to the design instead of just like kind of cramming it full of information. So those would be my 2 tips for developers looking to get more into design. Focus on your typography a little bit more, focus on your white space and your overall layout and your visual hierarchy, and you can go pretty far. If you're interested more in the UX side of thing, listen to your users, talk to your users. They will inform everything about your overall design and where you want to go. But that is something that it might take a little bit more practice versus those 1 or 2 quick tips that could kind of help level up a design. So yeah, so kind of something like that. I know our shape's a little different, and we're kind of going with a slightly different aesthetic here. But something like that. So maybe, I wonder if we play with a gradient here and kind of see how that worked. I kind of liked what they were doing. So maybe we start with I need to switch to gradient mode. So something like that. The lighter gradient up top. Oh, that's kind of annoying. I thought my colors would be here, but they're gradient colors. So let me go to my style guide here and I can grab the colors. I was kind of thinking maybe we start with this lighter one. Like that. And then maybe we go to the darker one below. And maybe that would be the... Oh, got the wrong sections here. Maybe we go down to this dark one. Let's get a feel for how that looks. Kind of off the bat. That one's probably too dark. Yeah, no problem, anytime. I'm here as a resource for everybody, so if you guys have questions, don't want to do that. If you have questions, feel free. Part of what makes the live stream fun is having the questions. All right, I want this one again. Maybe something like that. It's a little more subtle. I wonder if we added an inner shadow to this, what that would do. We obviously want to take this off here. We're going to change the color to be maybe this dark blue color. Maybe we'll bring the alpha down around 50%. Up the blur, up the spread. A little bit more. That just gives it a little bit more depth and distinguishes it from the rest of the page, which I think is an interesting technique sometimes. Maybe we just make this even a little bit more subtle. 20 to 30. Yeah, something like that. Maybe we take the spread down. I like the spread, but maybe it's a little too blurry. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. We're up to, I think that was our 100th follower, possibly. So congratulations, you got it. Alrighty. So something like this, maybe for the background. I don't know. I don't know if I love that shadow or not. Had to follow its chat. Oh, I think we're getting spam, so that's why I turned that on. But that was the reason for that. So, well, thank you for the follow. I might tweak that going forward in the future. That's something that I'm open to changing. I think we just got a little bit of spam when it was open, so kind of kept that feature on. Cool. Let's see here. All right, so I mean, it's kind of nice to be able to toggle and go back and forth there between the differences. Let's kind of leave that off for a second and just kind of see how that goes. But I like, from aesthetically, where that is heading. I think that's nice, a nice balance there. Did we change the, I guess, yeah, we did change the, whatchamacall, the color here. Nice. So I think generally speaking, this is kind of what we can go for. Obviously, I would like to put some more illustrations in here. RIP can't open OpenDC. That can't connect to Adobe servers to verify my screen. Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, Adobe stuff sometimes is annoying because it's all cloud connected like that versus Sketch, which is just all here. So I hope you get that figured out. So at least at the very least, though, I think this gives us a nice direction for our overall visual design here. That's a bummer. Alrighty here. So for these projects, so now we kind of use logarithms, which we've talked about at length here about the pros and cons of that approach. So we basically use it when we kind of want to get a feel for the content, but we just don't have the content just yet. I still don't have the content. That's actually something I need to think about. What are my 3 projects that I want to show off here? So something we'll come back to, and that will change how these look and feel. Down here, maybe we do something similar with that gradient. Maybe we'll just copy this gradient, add it to our document, just to make it feel a little bit easier. There we go. So we'll go to gradients. Is that not? I could have sworn we added it. Oh, weird. I'm clicking that plus button, but it's not adding for whatever reason. Lower gradients? Oh, it's because the drop down is not open. That would do it, yeah. All right. Let's see. Oh, I have the wrong thing. That's being really finicky today, but that's okay. Alrighty. That's looking pretty good. And then we can go ahead and do the same thing over here. I don't know, I've got to really consider a little bit more about what sort of, yeah, see, this doesn't work as well on that sort of background. This is kind of why we want to try this out a little bit more and see what how this impacts the overall color scheme and everything. This does work though. I think that's kind of nice. And I was thinking of making maybe this whole section kind of have more of a lighter blue background. So let's see if we can. All right, we have to make that taller, but that's all right. Let's kind of play with that for a little bit. And maybe we'll make it. I'll get rid of the border here. Make it have that little off blue color. Nice. Okay, so we'd have to tweak this a little bit more. I just think it's nice to add a very light background sometimes to make things just look a little bit more visually distinct, a little bit more visually interesting. Because we kind of got it all white up here, and then it kind of goes down to this lighter blue color, and then it goes back to white. So it's something that you can kind of go back and forth on. Oh, glad Photoshop's working for you. Hate to lose Photoshop. I wouldn't get a lot of work done. So just something to consider here. Yeah, you do need a macro sketch. That's kind of that is probably the only downside there. So we can kind of look at the difference here, and just look how that like changes the overall feel of the design as well, and see if that's something we necessarily want to incorporate or kind of move away from. I actually don't know if I love it because I kind of like how the white here just kind of blends. I don't know if I want to like reinforce that this is on top of everything. I kind of just wanted it to blend that image into the background there, but I wanted to play with it. I wanted to get a feel of that, something that I wanted to work on or play with a little bit more. Maybe we could do something down here or over here with it. Another thought I had was actually flipping the color palette up here and kind of making it a blue background. So let's see what something like that would look like. So maybe if we go blue with it. I think we talked about this a little bit last time. I'm gonna bring that down to here. Come on, there we go. And obviously this will have to change. Maybe we'll make it just a gray for now. Something like that. And obviously the logo will have to change. I was kind of thinking about something like this. And maybe we could do it even where it goes from here down to here, but we'll do a gradient here. And we'll like flip it. And so this could be the white side. Oh, I did it the wrong way. Does that, no, that, why did that not work? It's not working the way I want it to. Okay, that's all right. We'll just go to the white over here, and then we'll go grab from our style guide this blue color. Alrighty. Something like that maybe. Kind of have it fade to white. And maybe we'll bring the white up a little bit more. Maybe somewhere around there. Oh, I'll make that straight. And then maybe we can bring this blue down even further. I don't know. It's an idea. It feels a little like a project out of the 90s a little bit more. I know, back when we were using tables and stuff to design websites, a lot of gradients were in play. I think gradients are really, really hard to do well. But just it was an idea I kind of wanted to try and play with. And maybe we can flip these all to white. That would look a little better. Get a slightly better feel for how it would end up looking. But that's hard because like we've got this white typography and then it's changing into this black typography here. So we're kind of mixing our color palettes a little bit more. So I don't know. I don't think we necessarily need to go this route. I just want to play with it. That's kind of what the whole point of design is all about. You know, just play, see what looks good, what doesn't, what works, and kind of go on from there. But overall, I'm liking how this is coming together. Oh, we lost our gradient here, so let me add that back. Alrighty, yeah, nice. Get rid of a few of these, so we have more space for more other gradients. Alrighty, so I'm thinking this is looking pretty good right now, more or less. I mean, obviously we've got some media. This is media that I can fill in. At least. Layout looks good and the flows look great, great work. Tabular form was a good thing back then. But the divs and semantic HTML is far nicer to work with grammatically. Oh, thank you for the follow. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, divs and semantic HTML are far better, and it's semantic, so you know what you're kind of getting into a little bit more. Tables could just kind of just be overwhelming. I've done some email work, and emails still use tables, and so if you're familiar with that, you know the pain and and if you were around kind of doing it back then as well, you know the pain of going through it and making that all work. Awesome. So I was going to go ahead and grab some of these screenshots here, just so we can make it a little more consistent. Okay, I'm on the right channel. Go to my channel. Alrighty. And what were those ones? Building my portfolio. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and grab some thumbnails here. Just from these. I don't know exactly how we're going to do it, but is that the thumbnail? So that's the actual thumbnail itself. Open image, new tab. I don't really set my thumbnails. I just kind of let YouTube take it for me. So we can grab these. They're small. I wonder if there's a way for me to get larger ones, but we'll just save it. Yeah, save it on the desktop. Look good. Oh, glad your plan's working. Hope you get that figured out. That's kind of annoying when it's not working. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Not working the way you would like it to work. Save it jazz. All right, that's not cool. Cool. Let's see here. All right, I want to go back to Sketch now. A couple of different ways you can go about doing something like this. The way I like to do it is, oh, those are web tab. I don't know if this is going to work for us. Let's see. Oh, it did. Okay, cool. The way I generally like to do it is something like this, where I have, yeah, that's going to be super low quality. I was hoping that would be better quality. Let's see if we can grab them, any better quality photos from them. somewhere in here. I could go into my settings, but I might just have to extract these in slightly differently when I have a moment here. But you know what we can do? Let's just open it up and make this larger. At least grab a screenshot. And maybe this is something I need to consider when I'm actually putting this together. Okay, so that's good. And we'll come back over here. And now that we've got our screenshot, yeah, that's gonna be nice and big. So, and I wish I had done a better job with my layers here, because now it's coming back to get me, but that's all right. We got the rectangle, and we'll do a little mask. Okay. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to change the screen. Cool. We'll have to tweak this a little bit. This is interesting. It kind of shows when you're playing here. For feature reference, you grab a thumbnail by using this. Replace the YouTube video idea with the. Oh, cool! Thank you. That's awesome. Gonna have to definitely use that in the future. But this is interesting, right? It's kind of showing us the limitate. Like this is what a YouTube thumbnail is kind of. Well, I guess a screenshot. So the size is a little different. But maybe we need to make these image sections a little bit taller, or kind of consider how we want to handle this here. So for right now, let's just kind of assume it's going to center itself. It's pretty easy to do in CSS. Maybe do like a background div or something like that. So anyway, kind of getting a feel for how the content could work. And we were going to just take more screenshots just because that's the easiest way to do it. For right now, it looks like there's another tool, but I'm just going to do it the way I know how to do it. And we can go ahead and just grab this. And that one looks very similar, so maybe we'll grab a different one, different part of the video. Cool. And one more time. Tell you what, starting with Trello a lot. We've kind of been working on the same thing over and over again, so I haven't really been opening up Trello as much as I used to be. Cool. So now we've got some assets to work with. Alrighty, we'll just grab one. Cool. And we'll mask it. So interesting here, we're probably going to have different image weights, so to speak. So this one, for instance, is very light. This one's very dark. And they just look a little inconsistent here. A couple ways you can fix that, and once I get these two loaded in, we'll talk about that. Like how do you make them look a little bit more visually balanced? Because it can be tricky sometimes. Let me just go ahead and throw both of these in and mask them. Awesome. Alrighty, bring this down here. I keep doing it from the wrong way. I want to align the sides. There we go. And over here, same deal. I guess because it's easier to grab the sides, that's why I was doing it. Alrighty. Cool. So yeah, so notice how this one is a little just a little darker, and it's just kind of they have different weights to them because of their implicit color schemes. And this is hard because it's user generated content, right? It's not like, I mean, in this case, I'm going to be uploading it, but it seems it could be very different. So how do you handle this? Couple of different ways. One way to do it is just to take all, kind of make them black and white, so they all kind of don't have the same. They all look very similar. This is really great for like profile pictures and other sort of user generated content where you kind of are looking for like a little bit more similarity. So that's one way you can go. They just again, because they're black and white, they just appear a little bit more similar than when they're in their color versions. So that's one approach. Another approach is to do the inner shadows, kind of like what we were doing earlier. So let's kind of take a look at that and see how they can help. Kind of up the spread there. We'll make this our black, and then maybe we'll bring this down to Oh, this is not going to work actually, the way I'm setting it up right now. I was like, where are they? This kind of takes a little bit more. Yeah, you have to like overlay a shadow, which is frustrating sometimes. So let me see here how, if I can duplicate this. And this is not a mask anymore. And so you make it transparent, and then but you add an inner shadow like that. Yeah, that's how you can go ahead and do that. Kind of frustrating, but at least that's the way I know how to do it. There might be another way to do it. So we'll go ahead and we'll make it a black color. We'll make that like, I don't know, 50. And it just adds a little bit of depth to this, which is nice. So on like the darker ones, you probably won't see it, but where did that go? But on the lighter ones, it kind of just helps make it a little bit more designed and a little bit more consistent and put together. Nope, I want to be in that group. Alrighty, so that's all the way down there. I didn't align perfectly, but we can figure that out here in a second. Nice. There we go. And just kind of see, it just adds a little bit of depth to it. It makes it just a little bit easier to see relative to the white background here. Other ways you can get around this, you can make the whole thing a card. We're kind of not doing that with our design, so that's probably why I'm refraining from doing it now, just for consistency's sake. Let me see, I'm going to copy this. Nope, not the text, the layer. Where's that next group? All right, you're over here. I don't know why these are not getting added to where I want them to be. Alrighty, so that one's there now. We'll go ahead and throw this in group 10. Make a duplicate of that. It's group 8, okay. Layer management is important. I've kind of been ignoring it for this, but as you can see, it would have been very helpful if I had been paying attention to it. So yeah, so in this one, you don't really see the shadow as much because it's really dark, but it's still there. It still adds a little bit of depth, even, and same with this one. But it just kind of unifies them, just makes them a little bit more consistent. I kind of like this approach over the black and white approach, so I'm just going to probably stick with it. Are these aligned? Yeah, looked a little misaligned there for a second, but I think we're good. And it's just kind of a nice way to sort of bring some unity to images that might end up being very different. So that's kind of an approach you can take. But I'm gonna leave the color, the saturation as is. And honestly, if you did both, right? You can go ahead and oh, I just grabbed the mask copay, which makes sense. Let me see if I can grab all these screenshots here. If we did both of them, get the saturation down, you kind of see it shows up a little bit even more than it was before, but I don't know, different approaches here. We'll just reset those and get rid of that. There, cool. So that part's coming together. I think that's looking pretty good right now. I like where this is heading. Might need a little bit more space down here on the bottom. Maybe if we move that down a little bit more. I don't mind this covering up more of it. Maybe just for the sake of argument, we move that down 20 as well. Alrighty, cool. So I'm liking where this is heading. And then I've got some more work to do in terms of assets and stuff like that, and coming up with illustrations. We'll circle back to that. Let's keep on rolling with our other excuse me, other pages. So first up, we're gonna want to do the nav over again. I could make this a symbol. One thing that let me see here. Let me see if this has changed. Let's call this nav. We'll say main. Oh, I don't have other nav, so we can just call it the nav. Alrighty. I thought that was going to change. Okay, so we'll just insert shape, symbol, document symbol, nav, throw that in there. Where is this positioned? 50-30, cool. Sure, we use our Cartesian axis there. And what I wanted to do was have this, one thing that kind of always gets me is like this can't be made bold, and there's not really a good workaround. Like you can make one for all of them, like a symbol for each of them, but I don't really have tons of pages, so that's kind of why it can be frustrating sometimes. That's kind of what's going on there. Why I don't normally make a symbol is because it's, or at least for like a marketing page, because it's kind of annoying to have to go back and forth. But it is also annoying to be like, well, I've got to update all of this, but at least we can make text styles. Actually, that would help. We're going to detach this from the symbol. All right, let's go ahead and make text styles. We'll just call this like logo. Nice. Go ahead and update all of these at once. All right. So this is kind of our workaround here. We'll call this nav link. And you can be as diligent or as dry as you want to be. I tend to try and use, what am I trying to say? Try and use symbols and text as much, and text styles as much as possible, just because it saves you so much work in the long run. But I understand if you just want to kind of keep moving, do something quick, not necessarily super focused on it. All right, so this is quicksand, bold, which makes sense. And the color is going to be that off gray. And I think because it's bold, we don't necessarily need to like really enhance the color. Like we could do something like this where we make it blue as well, or even just darker. Maybe that darker works. I think that's nice. Okay, cool. So we'll just call this like nav link selected. Selected. All right, cool. Make sure we're consistent there. Alrighty. Nice. And finally, we'll just wrap this all up by making sure everything is kind of consistently spaced and organized. So I think this all should be baseline. And I don't think it was. So let's make sure these are all baseline aligned. And then 30, what's going on there? Oh, because we changed the typography, so we can move all this over 150. Great. And that should be 30. Okay. And now that we've respaced everything, so you could do it manually on all of these. The other way to do it would be to just grab this, we'll just call this nav, make it a little more easy. We'll copy it. Oh. Copy that. I should have done it this way from the beginning. But it's kind of quick and easy now. And that's the project, so that'll be nav link selected. Blog. Got the blog. Cool. Cool, cool. So on blog. So that one will be selected. These. Losing their text. That's kind of. Do we not make that one? Is that what's going on there? Oh, did I only do it for one of them? In the main nav? That's probably what I did. Yeah, I probably did it for that one. Gotcha. Cool. should have recopied that, but here we are, almost done. That's nav linked, that's selected, and then this is going to be nav link as well. Cool. All right, kind of got our navigation figured out now. We were on this page here. Let's go ahead and make this our H2, and really that should be more of our H1. Let me create a text style here. About H1, and see if that is just going to be too big. I don't think it is. I think that kind of works for us. We can obviously we'll adjust the spacing and everything like that. So this is what, 25, 10, and that off gray. So this is 28. Let's make it quicksand. It's a lot of line height now, so we'll have to tweak that. What are we using here? 36. Try to make it a little more consistent. And for the color, I think we're using maybe not that one. Maybe it is that one. Yeah, okay, cool. And we said this was what, 10 pixels away? Cool. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Alright, maybe something like that. And I'm going to bring that up a little bit more, make it like 60. And so interestingly, like here, you can see like this is not necessarily aligned. I think that's more of an issue with the bounding box than something we'll see in like code or anything like that. Yeah, so that looks pretty good there. And maybe we'll try to center align that a little more. Cool. So this image, I do have my headshot. So let's go ahead and add that in there. I don't know where I put it though. There we go. Let's add that in. And we'll mask again. We did this last time too, because we have the headshot on the other page, the landing page. Cool. I think that looks pretty good. We're kind of losing the border rounding again, and I'm wondering, so we don't do this down here, we kind of leave it. I wonder if we could do that similar shadow effect, if that would help or not. Or maybe even, what if we went with like a full border radius? Kind of more of a circle and then did a shadow on it. I don't know, it's a thought. We kind of don't use circles anywhere else, so maybe we'll go back to more like a 5. I'm not opposed for the shadow though. I think the shadow is nice. Kind of a way to just add a little bit more visual interest and a little bit nicer kind of off the page there. So let's see. Are we using shadows anywhere else? I don't think we are yet. This is a pretty flat design overall. We're using a lot of layering. We're playing with the Z index, but not a lot of shadows. I don't know. It's something that for my personal site, for some reason, I've kind of gone that way. Okay, so if we're not using shadows, maybe we won't use a shadow then. We'll kind of keep rolling. Can we change that? That's got the right color. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and make all of this quicksand. That helps a lot. We'll change the color here. Maybe make it. Let's make, this is a lot of text. So I want the text to be legible. So let's make it as black as possible, right? And then we've got all these buttons down here. I'm debating whether or not to make these buttons or links. If we made them all the same button, they would have the same weight, which it could probably be pretty overwhelming. So for now, I'm thinking about making those links, but while we're doing that, let's adjust this. So that was 28. Oh, this is fixed width, that's why. Yeah, I think 30 looks pretty good to me. Move that down. I know, somewhere around there. And then we seem to have a lot of paragraph. spacing. That's, I think, good. Kind of want, you want a little bit of paragraph spacing. And I think that looks nice. Cool. All right, let's actually go links with this. I was just thinking about that a little more. So let's go ahead and get rid of some of this in here. So first we'll change this to quicksand. Oh, keep doing that. And then we can go ahead and let's go ahead and add an underline to all of these. We'll change the color to our, we've kind of been using this darker blue a little bit, so maybe we'll go ahead and use that for a link color. I don't know if that's consistent or not. Here we're kind of going for this blue. What if we change that to that darker one? Yeah. All right, let's keep on. We'll keep with this lighter blue. And just see how that goes. We seem to have made those ones bold over there and 18, so I kind of like that. Go ahead and bring this over. Oop. And I'm actually going to make these a little larger. If they could be, this is like 21, so maybe make these 25. We'll left align these now. Make things a little easier for ourselves. Something like that. And which one's on the half grid? There we go. Cool. Tweak that a little bit. There we go. That's annoying. I think that's, all right, we're good to go now. And maybe we'll make this like 40 pixels from each other. What is going on here? All right. I don't know why that keeps resetting. Oop. Alrighty. So I think that's a pretty cool, pretty clear call to actions for the user. Home. So I'm torn between like kind of saying projects, blog, and home, or like my work, my writing, back home, something like that being more descriptive. What if we did that? Oh, let's see. That's kind of nice. It's kind of a little bit more of a conversational tone to it, which I appreciate. And we've got this one like that, so kind of keep that a little more consistent. Oh, that was too much. Something like that. I think that's looking pretty good. And then I think we were about 100 pixels on the bottom here. So we'll have to tweak this whole page. Nice. All right, that page is pretty easy, right? It was kind of text heavy. We're kind of applying, kind of figuring out what this header section is going to start looking like. Oh, that's not what we want. So let's group all these. I want that maybe to be around 50 pixels. Oop, too many. And then we'll up this by 3. Alrighty. This could be a way to go. Alrighty. I like how this is coming together now. Projects. So we kind of went with a 1-column layout here, which is fine. I think that's kind of interesting. I wonder if we could do maybe what we could do to make this more visually interesting here. And we've got all these sections here. These are going to look pretty similar to that last page we did, so maybe we start. I'm torn between just doing all those really fast and doing this section really fast, but let's kind of go. We'll redo these sections. Alrighty. Those should be H1s. Honestly, this is a style we keep using a little bit more, so I'm going to go ahead and make it a text style. We'll call this like subheader. just because we got it on a lot of pages. Cool. So that's coming together pretty nicely. What is this, 10 pixels apart? That works for me. Cool. Nice. And there is a bit of a difference here. I wonder if we can make this larger even. So what is our next step up? 35 or 28? 28 might work. That feels better. Alrighty. Okay, cool. Maybe like that. 38. Update text style. Cool. And maybe we can make this closer now. It's all about, you know, just playing with it, tweaking it, getting it to where you want it to be. Those are still center aligned. Awesome. The whole group's still center aligned. Cool. It's about 35 pixels, 38 pixels. Okay. Nice. And what did we say? These are about 5 now? Go ahead and center align those, and then center align this. And how far was this from here? 60? Nice. And it's just a process now. We've kind of made all of our hard decisions, or a lot of them. So now you're just kind of executing, right? It's a lot of design is thinking and trying to figure things out, but then a lot of it is executing, going from figuring out what your pattern is going to be, and then saying, okay, now that we've got the pattern, let's put it together here. I guess we could have made all of these into a symbol. Maybe? I don't know. Probably could have, actually, now that I'm thinking about it a little more, but that's all good. Okay, and then these pages, we've got slightly different headers here because the content is pretty different, so we can come back to that a little bit. Alrighty. Projects will have some sort of image, same with the blog, same with everything else. Okay, cool. So I guess here we're kind of talking about this project page, and we actually, I think, just grabbed those or something similar to them. So I'm going to go ahead and grab these guys. Nice. Okay. So one thing I was thinking about was like those. Let me go back. It just feels really, I don't know. This feels kind of boring, a little small. I'm thinking about making the picture a lot bigger. But it also kind of breaks our pattern here. Patterns are important, but I also don't want to like solely optimize on those patterns. So that's another thing to kind of consider as well. So that's kind of what I'm mentally struggling with. Let's just see how it looks out. What if we did make this larger? What if we made it something like that? Kind of go to the gutters. And then what if we went full width? Something like that. Be a little more probably visually interesting. We're breaking it up a little bit more. Probably want to increase like the space between each of them or something like that. Just to be a little bit more visually engaging. This one feels too big. I don't know. Maybe we will go back to more of this approach. I don't know if these solve that problem. I think this is a good enough solution. Let's go back to what we had. Okay. Well, we can obviously, we're going to tweak the text hierarchy, and that might help a lot too. So let's go kind of bring those around like that. Cool. And I just brought these over because it will help us maintain our text hierarchy, or the text decisions that we made. All right, that's about 50 pixels. Cool. And how, I don't think we really measured this or not. All right, about 63 pixels. Cool. So we have, oh, did I do that right? Oh, I just don't have it right here. Cool. So just for our purposes, and what if we made that, maybe make it a lot larger than it was. Before we kind of had it pretty skinny as well. So just get rid of those for now. I think that helps a lot. Cool. So now we can make this larger. So that's like 28 would be our next kind of size up. What's our H2 at? Wondering if that would work. Kind of have the H4. Gonna roll with that. Let's see how that. I don't know if I want it that large. What's our style guide say? 35. All right, let's go to that one. This kind of was the step up. We were 2 steps up from where it was, but I think that's a lot better. And we'll go ahead and extend this out to over here. Do the same thing for this. Because we'll add content in. And we were trying to keep it sort of consistent with how it is over here. So maybe, but at the same time, not being too hung up on that. And we changed the text here. It was view case study. I don't know. So this is learn more over here. I actually like view case study over here as well. Learn more is so generic. So with your button copy and your link copy, you really want to be as clear to the user as possible what exactly they're getting themselves into. So that's something that if whenever I can come up with like a better, more direct, clear terminology, I'm pretty happy to make the switch. So view case study, I think that was pretty nice. Alrighty, maybe we'll make that 40. So let's bring this up to maybe 25. That's probably, well, line height's not helping. What is this? That one's 21 and 30. Let's try that. Yeah, I like where that's at. And we'll change this over to the black text. Maybe we'll make this one slightly grayer. Just for our text hierarchy. Alrighty. So what is this? 40. Yeah, we'll go with 10 for now. And let's make this larger too. These guys, 25? Yeah, so maybe we'll make this one 21. Cool. I just want to see which one was closer. So that one was 10, this one was 15. So this one is also 10. Maybe we'll make that one 20 because the text is a little larger. Cool. I mean, we can look at it and see what it looks like at 15. That just feels a little. Maybe we'll make this 15. And then this can be 20. And this is what, 40? Maybe 35, something like that. I think it's looking pretty good for us. And then I'll change the color of this to maybe, I don't know why we have to change that, but just to make it a little more consistent with our current color palette. That's a reason for sure. Cool. Okay, so we got one project, and I'm going to actually have, I think, a fair bit of space between projects. Maybe that will help a little bit. And we'll bring this footer down. Cool. bring this down. And we didn't really change the overall layout. Obviously, we kind of looked at it, but already this feels a lot better to me just because we've given it so much more. I guess we can get rid of the, oh, that's not the right button. Just hide those for a second. Yeah, and already this feels a lot more breathable. Actually, I don't love the spacing here. I wonder if we can tweak that a little more. It feels really close, so a little more white space I think would be good. I know it's different from, like we have it the same. It's different content though, so I think we're okay with making this a little larger. Also because this is so much. Like that's like 80. Give me a little bit more breathing room. Nice. So yeah, so what I was saying, even though we didn't really end up changing the layout, I think just focusing on our text hierarchy, focusing on the white space a little bit more, makes it just feel a little bit more considered, a little more designed. So in our wireframes, we weren't really caring about that much. We were just kind of like, all right, what does our overall structure going to be? But here we can kind of hone in on those details a little bit more. I'm wondering, so what is this, 80? If this is like 80, is that really, yeah, that's like too far away, I think. 50 for text is working, and then we have 80 for other content. This is text, technically. Right, and we have that, yeah. Well, this is all going to change in a second here. Cool. So now we've kind of got another page down. Let's keep on rolling. I'm going to save. Always save your work. I've been burned by that in the past. This section here we've done already, so I'm just going to grab it. Always nice when you can do that. Nice. That's not what I wanted. There we go. I think we kind of had it overlapping. Oh yeah, we switched this around. Like that. Yeah. So we'll grab this guy. We'll grab the content, like that center aligned. Cool. As you can see, this shape is not the best shape in the world to work with, and it needs a lot of work, but obviously we will tweak that as we get closer to our final fidelity here. I think I need to sit down and just try and design that, and that might just be, I don't know, would y'all be interested in seeing that? That could just be me sitting down with some free time and working on that a little bit more. But if everyone's super interested, we can also consider tweaking that as well, or at least live streaming that. I was just going to sit down and really trying to figure out what exactly we're going to do for those assets. But anyway, okay, so these are kind of H2s. Let's kind of roll with that. Let's see if that'll work for us. You know what? I don't want to, I'm just going to do it with one and then I'll copy it. All right, that's really big. So maybe we need like an H3. Let's bring it down to 35. Still pretty big. We said 28. Ah, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. 28 is still, it's a step up from where it is here. Also, oh, we gotta detach this. Color-wise, you kind of have it as this. What if we made it blue? Yeah. I'm gonna save the blue. I think I'm gonna use it for the tags down here. Okay, so that's like 28. Well, I should change the typography first. I think that will ultimately be what's the deciding factor here in some of this spacing. Sometimes I think I get caught up in the spacing and then it's like, oh, I'm going to change the typography here in 2 seconds and that's going to dramatically impact everything. So consider that. These are going to be really small, so we're probably going to want to have our color be a little darker. I also wonder if we make this bold down here. I think that works for us. We can go ahead and maybe make this regular. Yeah. And we can make it that blue as well. we make these larger? So what is this? I think we made everything else larger, so maybe why not this as well? So that's 21, which I think is consistent with how this is. Yeah, so make that 30. All of a sudden that's starting to feel really like a lot of space. Looking at 28. Amazing how much that changes things. But yeah, looking at these two. Let's keep rolling with it. We can always tweak it. And something that we will probably do is like when we start coding this, things will change, and probably dramatically. It's just it's kind of the nature of the beast here. So let's see. Yeah, it's in the right spot. And so when we're coding, like we can probably tweak things on the fly a little bit and make it just feel a little bit more considered. Continue that polish work. So that's something to consider. This feels really, I think we actually need to make this more like 18. I don't know. Struggling, like we kind of almost need a value in between 35 and 48. We've talked about this before. We kind of need like a 42. Let's do it. I think it's nice to have a guide here, but if it's like crippling your ability to create the design, go ahead and add it, tweak it. Oop, I missed that one. Right? That's like not exactly in the middle, but I think it's kind of close. What we're looking for. Do. Cool. Right. No, that's a 20. Okay. Alrighty then. So if we've got 42, how does that look? 35. Did I put that in the wrong spot? Maybe I was thinking of something between 28 and 35, which that would be 32, which would make more sense. Again, not exactly in the middle, but let's see what let's see what we need, and then we can kind of go from there. So it's 28, 32, 35. Let's actually stay with 35 and see how that works for us. I think what I'm getting hung up on is the wrapping, but that's going to happen, so I just have to accept that. I think that line height is fine. Now if we make this up to what it was, and maybe we make it a little lighter. And we make this larger too. Make 18, something like that. It's already coming together nicer. Just made that 18 as well. Nice. Alrighty. Go ahead and get the spacing right. Probably do 15. Maybe even a little more. Maybe 20. Nice. And this guy needs a little more spacing from it. Cool. Alrighty. Yeah, it's in the right spot. Something like that. Maybe we need to bring the line height down actually on Not that much, but maybe something closer to that. I think that's what's throwing me off is this line height. Nice. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good so far for us. And then we had a couple of these, so yeah, already I think relative to down here we're looking pretty good. So let's see. All right, let's get the spacing right up here. That's about 50. Maybe like 40 in between all of them. Let me actually change the title just so it looks a little different. What did we say this was? 5? What is it getting started? Cool. This is why we do it with different types of content, because you can kind of see like, okay, this worked really well here, but doesn't work so well here, or vice versa. And you can really get a much better perspective on how flexible your design is going to be. I think we had done 4 up top, so let me just kind of repeat this design, this style, right? This kind of more condensed one. Join me on Twitch. Kind of go with something like that, and then we can grab all these again, group them, duplicate them, bring them down. Maybe something like, yeah, 50. We'll try that. I have to make the blog page a little larger. That's all good. Nice. That's kind of what we were looking for. Cool, cool, cool. And we'll bring this down right about there. Cool. So I like how this page is turning out. And honestly, we don't need to do a ton here. Because and this was something interesting. So we were bolding these because they were selected. So what if we make these regular? It does change their weight a bit. I think probably because we don't have this to regular as well. So what if we made this regular too? I think that looks a little better. And then we can do that kind of affordance on the other side. The only thing is we're going to have to change all this, but that's what design's all about. Kind of tweaking, changing, readjusting, reevaluating. A lot of that going on. How's everybody doing in the chat today? Saturday, good day for everyone? Alrighty. Go ahead and adjust this. And then we can make these. So this is the advantage of textiles. It's because you can, if I made all of that a textile, we could have done it once and been done. Alrighty. Cool. I think that looks pretty good. It's a lot of space in between them, but I'm kind of, I don't know, let's see if we move this up. Change anything really? It does make it a little tighter. I think I have this grouped. Yeah. Alrighty. This is why I was saying earlier, it's so important to pay attention to your typography because it will really impact your spacing, your visual hierarchy, really everything else on the page. Because we just changed a couple of words or sections, the tags and the button, the link, to regular instead of bold, and all of a sudden we've got to readjust our whole page, right? So that's why typography can really sink or swim, or make or break a design. More so than a lot of people who aren't designers give it credit. Oh, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Alrighty. Oh, nice. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. If you weren't enjoying it, I hope you would leave, because don't waste your time. But awesome. I'm glad you are enjoying it. Hope I'm not wasting anybody's time. This is useful, I think, for... I don't know. I think it's useful, but I'm a little biased, probably. Alright, we'll just grab this from the section here. We'll throw it in the middle. Bring this down. As we have more of our components, more of our patterns come together. Oh, enjoying it. Awesome. That's good to hear. As we have more of our patterns come together, like look how much faster we're going already. This page is going to take us like 3 seconds to do because we've already made our decision. So as you increase that fidelity, you keep on rolling. It all starts coming together. And we're going to make that bold because these are the Laravel posts. So this is the tags page. So if you click on a tag, it shows up here, something like that. I wonder if we want to do like back to blog or something like that, kind of have a button up here. Just so that way they can... it's more obvious that they can go back. And I don't know if I would put that at the top of the page or at the bottom of the page. I mean, they always have the navigation here, so that's kind of clear. Well, I'm going to think on that one. That's an interesting question. Alrighty here. So what are we talking about next? So next up we have this section here. We have, so this should be similar to this, right? But we're probably going to find that we're going to need to tweak it a little bit more. I'm wondering, so we increase the size here? Maybe not. We increase this section, maybe not this section. Yeah. I'm just talking out loud now. Okay, let's go ahead and tweak this first because it's going to be the easiest. So quicksand, 21, 30, okay. We'll make it our black color, and how far down was that going? I don't know. Right about there. Cool. We'll come back to that. So what's that about? 50. Building a comment system with Vue.js, Tailwind, Laravel. Let's make this our H1. All right, that's too big. We'll make it our H2. A lot better. Yeah, I think that's going to work for us. We'll go ahead and make all of this quicksand. And maybe we'll make that a little closer. There we go. I think I'm still going to try and make these blue. Just because I want them to be clickable. And then this can be a little bit more in the grayscale. I don't know. It's going to really depend on our... yeah, I think that's fine. Like that. It depends on what our background image is going to be. Maybe we can center align these. There we go. Or we can kind of keep it consistent with how far away this is. That's about 60. So we're going to up that by 2. So that's 121. What is 121? Sometimes the math here is just not the easiest. So what is that? 15, 16? There we go. Can still do math. That's a good thing. All right, so let me go ahead and grab that image there, or an image. You just have to grab one of these. I grabbed most of my hero sections from Unsplash, which I think is nice. Oh, I'm gonna have to grab this from here. Open a new tab. That's what I want. Oh, that's the. We'll actually go into it. Oh, not the right inspect tool. Cool. Blog hero. Yeah, there we go. There it is. So save image as, and we'll throw that on the desktop. Cool. I'm just gonna quit out of some of these pages here. All right, where'd it go? So yeah, so I think we're definitely gonna need some sort of a mask here. Okay. That's working. Let's go ahead and tweak this here. Wait, we'll have to put on the image itself, that's right. So add a fill. Maybe we'll go with our blue. Let's see how that comes out. Yeah, we're gonna have to switch their color palette here a little bit. What if we go with a darker blue? What are we doing on our... Oh, so that's all white. I was wondering if I had done the switch or not. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's coming out a lot nicer. That wasn't what I wanted. Okay. And even our navigation, we'll need to tweak a little bit. That's okay. That's not the hardest thing in the world to fix. And even this, we're going to make it slightly darker, probably about 50%. It's like the challenge of using a image hero background for your, and then having text on top of it, just because you can get a little lost in the image, but I think this is going to work all right for us. Cool. So we kind of did this already. Like that. 50. We got this whole section down here now that we've been kind of talking about. I'm just going to move this down a little bit more. Cool. That's 60. Oh, is that because, no. Where is that? Oh, there's more text. Yeah. This is always hard, but let's put it there. Alrighty. So maybe we make this, so kind of copying what we have down here a little bit more. Oh, I didn't know I centerlined that. Make sure that looks better when we do this for real in the code. Maybe we'd make this blue. Go ahead and make this white. Throw in the old headshot. Where is that? Done this a few times now. Okay, go ahead and bring that up there. Make a mask. Great. Oop, don't want to shrink everything, just the headshot itself. Cool. This is also not quicksand, so we'll change that. Let me make this bold. Nice. Yeah, it's good enough spacing wise. About 18. I think this is pretty good. Not a lot I want to change here. Do want to make sure that's still centered. Feels like there's a lot of very wide relative to the content. Maybe if we bring this, oh, that's not what I wanted. Bring that over there a little bit more. +8. That feels a little better. Cool. I think that's nice. Nice way to break up the page. All right, here, let's go ahead and pick our lightest purple and see how that looks. That's the same color here. I don't know if we even need this anymore. This is kind of coming from, again, what we were doing over here. I had more of a card approach on my old blog, and now we're kind of going for more of this like list style. Pros and cons, obviously, to all of these different approaches, but kind of the design direction we're going. Like that. So I think this works with the lighter blue on it. Let me just kind of grab, I guess 3, or we have 4 here, but I'll just grab them. Alrighty, that's looking pretty good. How far away was this from? Oh, it's like 50? Alright, let's go for that. Definitely get rid of that. Add 5. Alrighty. Bring this back up. And we'll bring that there. Cool. So I like where this is heading. I think that's fine, kind of from a text hierarchy standpoint. Even considering making this more of an H1, that would be really big. I think HC is fine. Cool. And those blues, they look like they're working. I don't know. Easy for me to say, obviously, but I think we're okay there. Project 1. Okay, so this will be very similar to this. Is that our last page? Oh, nice. Doing pretty good on timing here. So let's see. How are we going to handle this? So what is this? H2? Okay. We'll start there. And this will probably be the same as the subheader. What are those are 25. I'll actually make that, I think, a little larger, just because I think the text itself will be pretty different. Go ahead and make that white. We'll make all of, oh, that's the wrong button. There we go. And then this is 4. How far away is this from that? 10. I think we'll keep doing that. And we up the height of this to 439, so we'll do the same thing here. Oh, it's because that text is so much larger. So there we go. And we'll just make this a much darker fill for right now. I don't have an image necessarily selected, so we'll just kind of keep it that blue color for now. Here we've got our, this is becoming our sort of body text. So I might go ahead, create a text style now. We'll just say body. I think we're doing this in a few other spots too. Is this the same? Yeah. Oh, that was not quite the same. They were slightly lighter. Yeah, but you know. Yeah, I think that's a similar category. Okay, It's all good. Got all this, basically all this filler text right here. One thing I might want to consider is that I will probably put images in this. And how do I want to handle those images? It's something I should think about. So let's think about that right now. So that's 50, also 50, great. We're going to change this so it doesn't matter. So I think currently in my blog, I think these are going to be fairly similar to blog posts. Oh, I don't want to be in this anymore. Let's see. Why can't I get out of this? So those are kind of code relationships. I don't want to... How do I get out of this? Oh, that was the wrong button. I can refresh the page though. That'll always work. Trying to think of one where I might have, yeah, some images. Yeah, so right now I'm just kind of keeping them in line there, kind of centered like that. Probably going to do something similar with the, and obviously we're going to have to consider those H1s and stuff like that as well. But I don't know if we need to necessarily, like that's so much easier to do in the code. Like here it's just going to take a long time, so I might skip it for now and come back to it. But at the very least, let's talk about that image and see how that looks. So this is kind of all going to be text. Maybe around 3. Didn't quite get it. 300, something like that. Let's grab an image. Let's grab that image. Go ahead. Does that even fit? Yeah, it does fit. Okay. Let's save that to the old desktop there. And this one. There we go. I don't know, something like this. Oop. And you know what? We don't even need to mask this. It'll probably just be the size of the image. Cool. So something like this. Kind of curious how much spacing is in between that. So that's 947 minus 902, roughly. About 45. So we might try and do the same thing here. Oh, that's not what I want. Just want this text. Why is that? I don't know what's going on here. That's not a great thing to look at. We'll just do this for now. About 45 pixels. And that's about 100. Like we've been doing. And we'll go ahead and maybe make that a little larger. Sometimes it's just nice to have this kind of figured out beforehand so you don't really need to think about it as much. Awesome. So let's kind of take a look at what we've done today. So let's see here. We've kind of, let's start with the landing page. I think that's more fun. Actually, and we kind of talked about this last time, or a couple times ago. One thing I love to do is take all this and actually export it, because it looks, it feels a little bit more like what am I trying to say? Oh, where did I just save those? That might not have been what I wanted to do. Maybe not. it looks a little bit more like a web page. And so if we go ahead and open all these up. Yeah. All right, let's start with the landing page. And we can get rid of this sidebar. Nope. Actually, I do want to see the sidebar, reorder it. Or for my accounts like this, trying to figure out what the margins to be. Yeah, margins can be kind of hard on the sides there. I don't, like the margins, I kind of use them as like a guide when I'm designing. But I don't get really hung up on them. In the code, that's when I really like try and figure out my max width a little bit more. So I'll have some sort of margins on the side. Obviously, it's not the largest design, so it's or the largest screen, but you know, just something so there's some little bit of padding there, and then kind of go from there. That's funny that cut off. So alrighty, let's take a look here. It just feels a little bit more like a website here, so that's kind of what I'm going for. But I like where this is heading. This section here looks really nice. I think once we have some images in here, it's going to be in really good shape. Have a little bit better text. I like how this turned out. This is looking pretty good. I like this media section. Obviously, we're going to have to work on the color contrast on this button here, but right now, this section, the text on top of the wave, that doesn't feel great. But that's going to really change dependent upon what that SVG ends up looking like. I like this color contrast here. I think the footer looks pretty good too. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Let's check out this page here. Oh. Alrighty. This is looking good as well. It's gonna be a little personal essay. Alrighty. Let's see here. Blog. I think these are gonna be okay. I think we played around with the spacing, the sizing a lot, but I think for the most part, that's gonna look pretty nice. Cool. I like how that one turned out. Let's look at the blog post itself. One thing I might play around with is like the font size and maybe the width a little bit more, but I think for the most part, this is looking pretty good. Material section. Everything is looking a lot cleaner and a lot simpler than it used to be. And so I appreciate that. A lot of that is coming from like just black and white text and typography. On my other side, I think I've got a little bit more of a background going on. This is looking pretty good so far. These are some of the Laravel posts. This is very similar to the blog page, so I think those are clear enough that it's related. It's subtle, but I think it works. Can't really use the accent color at all. That could be a good point to use it. That's kind of a small image. I think on a computer it would look bigger, like in an actual interface. But I think for the most part, this is looking pretty good. What do y'all think? Any pages that need tweaking? Any design ideas? Kind of scroll through them a little bit more. Look at the big picture. That's another thing too that's kind of nice sometimes, is looking at the bigger picture, looking at the overall layout. You may be able to identify some other patterns, some other insights that you're thinking about. Like this section up top, feel like when you look at it here, feels a little bit cluttered. Maybe there could be some more white space involved. But then when you zoom in, I don't think it needs it necessarily. I don't like where this is right now. I'm gonna have to figure out how to handle that, but I really don't want it to wrap. I could do an ellipsis. That might work. That could be something to consider. Yeah, BizDev. This is looking good. You can really kind of see the inner shadow here, and I think it helps, again, this kind of section stand out from the background. So you apply it to everything, but it's really helping the lighter colors have the same visual distinction and weight from the background that the darker colors are having. Nice. I like this section too. Cool. So I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out. So we're almost done with the high fidelity. Basically, at this point, I think we are more or less done with the overall design. I need to spend some time thinking about content and the assets and the illustrations here, and what exactly I'm going to do in these sections as well. And maybe here it could just be a simple gradient, but down here, I don't know. I was thinking maybe of doing something a little bit more illustrated, but I don't know. These are the things that, let me actually tweak that one. Let me see if I can change the color palette a little bit and see if that helps. So what if you make this white? What if you do something like this? And then this would be white and then blue on top. So like already, I think that looks better. I don't know if we can do white on top of this though. So what if we, instead of a full gradient, just went with the blue? I think that doesn't look terrible. And what if we did the same thing up here? We kind of have it in one more spot. So let's see here, switch this around. Make that white. Make this white. And then make this part blue. And we'll just export the ones, what was that, the blog, landing page. See how that looks. Preview, that's what I'm looking for. Cool. So going from like a gradient to a flat color like that, you lose a lot of like the fluidity. Like that's like just a little bit more visually engaging. But I think it helps a little bit. It helps the typography pop. It just appears flatter, right? So that could be something to consider. Maybe using the gradient up here makes more sense. And again, I need to figure out what I want this illustration to look like as well. Something just I'm kind of considering I'm going to have to play with a little bit more in detail. But overall, I think this is starting to come together pretty nicely. We're going to go to the next one here. What did we do? We updated this one a little bit more as well. So I think this color flip makes sense. I'm probably going to need to think about that background a little bit more, but it is consistent, right? It's kind of like we're kind of using that. We're not really using tons of gradients. We're using a lot of solid colors anyway. So I don't know. I'm not necessarily opposed to going more this route. What if we did? What if we changed that navigation there? Or that the hero section and made it more of a solid color? Interesting. We probably have to tweak these. Tweak the navigation a little bit as well. Something like that. Go ahead and replace that. I think this is looking pretty good. I'm also debating about making that a fixed nav or an absolute nav, so we'll have to think about that. That can come in the code. I think if we don't have the gradient at all, and we don't like already establish that in the mental model, the overall design looks better. When you have the gradients competing with the flat background, that's when we are kind of running into some of those issues there. But I like this. I think this is nice. It's a nice way to introduce the color and really make everything pop a little bit more. Nice. Alrighty. I like how this is coming out. Cool. Cool, cool. Well, I think this is about as much. This has been almost 2 hours now of straight design work, so I think I don't want to overwhelm anyone, and I know everyone's got busy weekends. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this this mock-up here and this design and the overall design direction. It's simple. It's a lot, I think, simpler maybe in some ways than my previous design. But I like it because it just cleans it up. It just makes it look feel a little more professional. So I like the direction we've started heading here. And obviously we'll tweak this on the fly as we need to. And I think before next Saturday. So next Saturday I might not be able to stream, so we might need to wait another week to get back into this, but I'm going to try and stream next Saturday if I can. And then next Wednesday also can't, no stream on Wednesday this week, but next week we're going to, the following week we'll be back on your regularly scheduled programming, so everything should be back to normal. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. I hope it looks nice. You know, that's kind of what we've been working through with the whole process here. And just trying to make it look nice, make it look good, make it look well designed. Awesome. Well, that I think is it for me today. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or join our Discord. We've got a Discord down below in the About section. You should be able to find that on Twitch. So feel free, you can kind of chat with us during our off times. I think I'm going to, over the next, if I can't stream next week, I'm probably going to focus maybe on working on these illustrations a little bit more and kind of conceptualizing what I want the content to start looking like for any of these missing content sections. So that just might be more of me heads down kind of focus as opposed to me narrating. Sometimes it's hard for me to think and narrate and actually produce something at the same time. So I might need to be a little more head down on that. But when I come back, whatever I produce, I will walk us through how I did that. So you guys can follow along that way. Awesome. So have a great rest of your weekend. Good luck with your own portfolios. I hope you all are working on those too. And we'll see you next time.